Well, welcome everybody to a special meeting of the City Council. This meeting today will be with the Recreation District regarding the proposals on the pool. And with that, would you call the roll?
I'm over here.
Oh, you're right there, sorry.
Councilmember Dennehy.
Here.
Councilmember Maloney.
Here.
Councilmember Schmischer.
Here.
Councilmember Stein.
Here.
Councilmember Tracy. Absent. Councilmember Worthington.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
Here.
Mayor Troutman.
Here. I guess I should have also said that it is August the 19th. It's 5 o'clock. So would you call the roll for the Rec District as well?
Andrew Palmisano,
Here.
Nick Sartori,
Here.
Cooper Trahern,
Here.
Joel Dudley,
Here.
and Melissa Smines. I'm here.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Since the City Council will be voting on a resolution, we're going to move that public comment to that period of time, because the council will be voting on it. So we'll get through Kyle and Dan or everybody else would want to speak, and then in the conclusion, we'll start the City Council meeting, and then we can take public comment. We have a period for that. So if you've come out, that's the order of things. And then we'll move it from our agenda to, if it's okay with council, I will ask permission of council to move the resolution, which you'll see on your notes. It was to be F, which is the introduction and first reading of the ordinance for the pool. If we so choose, if that's okay with council, we will move it to get in the front of the agenda so that the people in the audience can make their comments, and then they don't have to stay all night. Now, we really have exciting council meetings, so if you want to stay for the rest of the evening, that's fine as well. So at that point, Kyle, are you going to start? Is that how it's going to go? Would you please go right ahead?
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. So we do have a presentation. We're going to go through this quick. We know that we are short on time, so once we have it called up, we'll be ready to go. And essentially what we have done is just to do some recap, very high level. The pool closed, of course, in '23, in May of '23. City of Canyon City and the Rec District worked to see what options we could move forward with. And then we immediately, and this is not moving forward. And try it again here. Let's see if they can advance the slide for me. Okay, so some of the steps that we've taken thus far, a Citizens Committee was established to assist with the consultants on the working on the study. There have been 3 public presentations, stakeholder meetings, 8 pool committee meetings, 3 surveys, joint meetings with City Council, and numerous other social media posts, videos, things like that have been done. So there have been plenty of promotion on this. We also had a dedicated website for the study hosted by Councilman Hunsaker. 4 options were presented for the study, and that's all based on feedback. The least expensive and most expensive options were the first to be eliminated. I have been told, why are we going with the most expensive? We're not. The most expensive option never even made it to public site. It was over $30 million, and we did not feel that we had the taxing capacity, and there was zero support within the pool committee or the people leading the study to advance that even further. So that just got nixed right off the bat. So what we have are actually the 2 options, which are the middle 2 options. And I'm going to show those for you in just a moment. All decisions made during the process, with the exception of the expensive one, were led by the citizens. So citizens had a role in everything through surveys, public meetings, stakeholder groups. We have very much listened. And we also now have the support of 4 government entities. City of Canyon City Recreation and Park District, Canyon City Schools is involved, and the county commissioners dedicated $100,000 in ARPA funding at their last meeting to go to a pool if successful. So looking at the survey options here, so this is option 2 in the Councilman Hunsaker study. Again, this is a seasonal pool. It's 2 bodies of water. It is all outdoor. So some of the benefits are it's 50% larger than the Ichabod pool when you combine all of it. We are putting this at the Ichabod pool site coming across 12th Street, and then of course a parking lot on the front lawn of the high school. And there would be water slides with runoffs, current channel with water features, 0 depth entry, and there would be use of this for about 3 months out of the year. So that would be your return, and it is at $12.8 million. We would have expanded programming. We would be able to offer, it wouldn't be one group at a time in the pool. You would be able to have multiple groups because of the multiple bodies of water. In option 3, you're looking at the same thing, except the lap recreational pool is indoors. You do have to add on a different building. In conjunction with that, you will need a more robust mechanical room because of the year-round options. There's HVAC that's involved, different types of decking, different types of pools, skimmers, it's just a much different setup, and it does drive the cost up to $24.8 million. The return on investment, you do have year-round use, so 12 months out of the year, and the lifespan of an indoor facility is 50 to 100 years, whereas the seasonal is 30 to 40. But if you take care of the seasonal well, we could probably do the exact same thing we did with the Ichabod pool and get that over 50 years. But you are going to be pushing closer to 100 for an indoor. So the return on investment does change between the 2 options. Option 3 did rank the highest, and that came in at 3.59. The max score is 4, and 3.13 for option number 2. Options 1 and the no pool option were far back, so those 2 options were eliminated. And so we went with options 2 and 3 to take forward to the scientific study. They did take community feedback, so these are the verbatim responses, and everybody left a response. 42.3 were positive, 41.69 were mixed, and 16% were negative. So they felt very strong on the verbatim responses that there was significant support for a facility. Then we went to the Magellan Strategy Scientific Survey. So in this survey, the goal is to go off the voter rolls. So we go off people that are registered to vote and are likely to vote in the election, and then we match it up with the demographics of the community to create a scientific. They wanted 400 to 500 responses. We had 1,027. They were thrilled with the response rate. It was a very high response rate according to Magellan. So you can see they have a 95% confidence interval and a margin of error of almost 3%. And the objectives were to measure voter support and opposition for the measures. They also tested information questions to determine the movement and opinion on the ballot measures. So everyone was required to leave something verbatim in the comments. So there was a comment that you had to leave. It could say no pool, yes, don't care, whatever, but they had to leave a comment in the survey. It was required. Otherwise, the survey would not have gone through. So they would not have been able to submit. So they tested that information to see how it matched up with answers. And what you're going to find is the first thing that they do is they do what they call trust questions. And the trust was of the Canyon City Area Recreation and Park District, but I also believe that the city is involved in this because we are partnered with them. And it is a trust question. Normally, these trust questions, you're looking for a score above 50%, sometimes getting close to 60. It was an 83. This doesn't happen. So do you trust what the Recreation District or approve what the Recreation District is doing in our community? You can also see the breakdown in the bar graphs. You all have this. So this report you all have, so I am going to move through this quickly. We are going to be putting this out to the public this week, but we don't have it out yet. As far as do you agree or disagree with, is the Canyon City Area Recreation and Park District fiscally responsible? This number, if it's a good number, is normally a little above 50%. It's historical for government to be rated below 50%. We're at 65. with 19% having no opinion and 16% totally disagreeing. Again, great score. And then on the last trust question is about the pool. And this was about whether or not the community would support a modest tax increase. Again, a good number here would be mid to high 50s. We have a 74, 23% totally unopposed, and the undecided made up the rest. Okay, so overall solid scores, and you're going to notice in the bar graphs on the yeses, nothing anywhere below 60%. As far as the rest of the questions, so they were done as an uninformed and informed. So the first questions they had were about 3 tax questions: sales tax, general obligation bond, and a mill levy increase, okay? And the first thing they did was they just asked if they would support it, and then they asked 6 questions to get them in, to turn them into an informed voter, and then see how that weighted. So this is option A. So the next 3 slides are option A. The uninformed and informed did not change. 65% were a total yes, 29% were a total no, and 6% had no opinion. So overall, they were very happy with this figure on the sales tax. Sales tax is testing higher statewide than property tax. Now they asked the next question, if I can get there. We were moving along. So we need to go to the next slide if we can.
And you could try pointing that at the projector, Kyle, over here.
Nope. Oh, there we go. Okay, there it went. All right. Okay, so we did the sales tax. So now here's the property tax. And the property tax represents a mill levy question for operations of the pool as well as districts. So what we did was we know what the subsidy is or what it's projected to be for the facility on top of what the recreation district needs for its ongoing operations. And this is 58% on the uninformed were a total yes, 35 no, 7% no opinion. And you'll see that once they became informed, it jumped up 4%. So a couple things that the Magellan took away from this: you're able to move, and Ryan made the comment as well, you're able to move no voters to a yes vote. So that was encouraging from their standpoint on the property tax. The debt financing, so this will look as a tax increase because Tabor requires that, at least on the ballot, but it is not. This is permission for the recreation district to go into debt to fund the pool. But the debt is being paid off by the sales tax, not property tax, by sales tax. So that is the big difference. So if you vote for the sales tax, you also have to vote for the rec district to go into debt to then pay it off. This question, 63% across the board, you did see a no opinion go to a no vote once they became informed. Now for the option B, which is the more expensive of the 2 options, this is the $24.8 million. It is 58% were no on uninformed. It jumped to 61% once they became informed. You'll see that those came from the no votes as well. So again, encouraging that the sales tax is there. On the property tax, this is a $4 million increase. So if you have a $300,000 home, it would be a $20 increase above the first option, which was the $3 million increase. So you're going to see that this again moved up to 56%. Again, Magellan Strategies said, look, this is good. This means that none of your options are dead on arrival, and there are some issues out there that are dead on arrival. This is not one of them. And they're working around the state on multiple issues. And then on the debt, you're going to see that there was an increase by 3% in the yes once they became informed. And again, if you're in favor of the sales tax, it's only natural to go with the debt financing because all you're doing is saying, yes, we're willing to go into debt. So some final thoughts, and these were all on the verbatim responses. There is a preference for sales tax over property tax. I don't think that should surprise anybody in the room. There is support for a year-round pool. There were several comments that were made that said, if it's option B, which is the more expensive option, if option B is not on the ballot, we are a no vote. If you go with option A, we're out. That was in some of the verbatim. Concerns over cost and the financial burden, yes, there is going to be, there is a burden on those with fixed incomes, so we want to make sure that we draw attention to that. Also, there were a lot of people that wanted quality and longevity of construction. They want to make sure it's done right the first time. They don't want to see the facility have to get closed because it was done poorly. They want to make sure it's done right the first time. There is a desire for a simple and affordable option. Want to make sure that you understand that either option A or B, whatever you're getting is not the Taj Mahal. I'll be honest, I hate that line. I hear it all the time. I've heard it about other buildings that have been built in this community. It couldn't be further from the truth. It is a simple, standard, modern pool design by today's standards. That's it. There are some recreational features. Yes, there is a slide. That's not uncommon. We had a slide before. There are diving boards. There are play structures that are all common in aquatics today. If you want to see the Taj Mahal, there are facilities that are being built in communities that are over $60 million. We do not have this fancy pie-in-the-sky design. It is a simple, basic, modern design of pools that are built today to last and have longevity, with whichever option you prefer, okay? And the community feels that there's a need for recreation, and they feel that recreation is essential. So those were some of the things that came out. In case you're wondering on the demographics, I'll just show these real quick. The demographics line up with the electorate in our community. We did have Ballard King, who is doing the market analysis, sign off on that. We asked them their thoughts, and they said, yes, this does line out with the electorate in our community. And in case people are wondering, I've heard that 50% of the community, rents their home. That's not true. It's 25%. And 75% own. So you see that demographic right there, it lines up. So we do have a statistically valid survey from Magellan, and that was confirmed by one of the other consultants in Ballard King. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and I know that we are tight on time. I also want to mention as well, Todd Snidow is here. He is the bond underwriter from RBC Capital, and I think it's important because he is working on other projects, and he will be the first to tell you that what he's seen in this survey and what is happening in other places he's working with, there is a significant difference. We do have a chance because we have multiple government entities working together. We also have a solid, strong survey result, and they do like the plan, and he can answer questions you may have on bond underwriting, or he can even talk to you about what I just mentioned and answer some of your questions, because he is looking at it from a statewide perspective, not just in our community. With that, I'm set, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I thought you'd take the whole hour. I'd have to make you stop talking.
I'm sorry to disappoint
Kyle,
you. We'll work on that for next
it
time.
must be it. I saw you kick him. Said about, well, would you mind all if to ask anyone if they have questions, to come up and ask the questions while the panel is here? Would anybody in the audience like to do that? Well, that was popular. Let's see. The city attorney? Who's it? Amy.
Not
She's not the city attorney.
I'm happy to ask a couple of questions just to warm up the crowd maybe, and then see if folks do want to come up and ask. I'm wondering if the scientific survey demonstrated any preference between the two, or were the questions asked kind of discreetly to where we don't know if folks had a preference between option A and option B?
In all honesty, we hope that there would be, and I'll let Ryan speak for the city on this as well, we hope that there would be some big separation between the two. We didn't get that. The most separation is in the Councilman Hunsaker survey, but this was close enough to where basically Magellan said, it's your call. What do you want to go for?
Yeah, the way the questions were asked, survey participants were asked both questions, and they were asked on both versions and provided a response on both. you know, I think there were some early discussions about trying to do a forced choice, but I didn't think that was going to, I think the feedback that we got from the survey company was that would not give us a true representation of what the electorate felt.
I've got a million more. I can keep on asking, but I don't want to
Well, that would
prevent
be a
anyone
surprise,
else.
Amy. Would you, if you would care, would this gentleman here, would you mind, Amy? Let's have,
Mr. Gunfit.
would you just give us your name? We'll give it back. So.
Yeah, my name's Chris Moffett, citizen
Oh,
of
okay,
Canyon
yeah,
City.
you were here. So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a question for Kyle. Have y'all talked about fees, like what the user fees will be, and if they're like tier levels for like the retired community or?
So just like the Ichabod Pool, we would do our best to meet the socioeconomic needs of the community. We knew that we would never get cost recovery at the Ichabod Pool, and public pools do not get cost recovery. They are a service, so you have to meet the socioeconomic needs. What we had charged was $4 to use the pool. What we did on this study was we set the rate at $5. So we put it at $5, knowing that it would be potentially 2027, and went from there. By the way, that lines out with what you see in Pueblo, Florence, Gunnison, Montrose, and the Colorado Springs pools are operated by the Pikes Peak YMCA. They are about $10 to use those facilities. So we are under what the YMCA would charge, but we are pretty close to what is charged in other municipal or district-owned facilities.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Thanks. That was
Okay.
my only question.
Chris, would you mind if, or you then still want to come back and talk to council when we convene?
At 6 o'clock, yeah, when there's the actual
Okay.
meeting or the
Okay.
question about the vote, I would love to speak then as well.
I'll hold on to that. Randy, would you want to, or you want to wait till we talk to council? Well, you could do both, if you'd like. Just keep it to 30 seconds. No, just kidding. No, just kidding. No. You can use your hands as well, yes.
Okay. Okay, so I wrote a little speech. So thanks everyone for being here tonight. We gather not just as individuals, but as a community united by a shared vision. A vision to bring back something that is much more than just a place to swim. We are here to restore a vital resource that will enrich our lives, protect our children, and strengthen the bonds between us. I've been asked why I'm so passionate about bringing a pool back to Canyon City. And for me, it's deeply personal. Try not to get emotional. When my son was younger, he had an accident that limited his ability to participate in many activities, except for swimming. Swimming was the only place where he felt like an equal, where he wasn't left out or treated differently or had to sit out because he couldn't. He wasn't treated differently because of his peers. He was able to swim in the water, keep up, and be like one of his friends. A neighbor who has become a friend through my pool journey put it perfectly. A swimming pool is the great equalizer, and it truly is. As you guys know, I am formed a volunteer group that has gone now into a 501c3, Citizens for a Pool. And so I've spoken with many citizens about the initiative. Two stand out in my mind. Once we were able to talk to them and give them the facts, they said previous initiatives that they were against, but now they are for. They can see the value in this, and they can see that the community needs this, which I think is amazing. They see how a tax-funded community pool can benefit our town. A community pool is much more than a place to swim. It's an investment in our health, our children's safety, and our community's future. It promotes wellness by providing a space for exercise and relaxation for people of all ages. It helps teach our kids life-saving skills and gives them a safe environment to learn and grow. And it's a place where families and neighbors can come together, building stronger bonds and a more connected community. Moreover, a well-maintained, accessible pool can enhance property values and attract new residents, boosting the local economy. It's a resource that benefits everyone, regardless of age or income, making our town a more inclusive and vibrant place to live. Did you know that out of 66 towns in Colorado with populations over 7,000, Canyon City is the only one without a public swimming pool within 3 miles? That is not just a statistic, it's a call to action. We owe it to ourselves, to our families, and especially to our children to provide a safe, accessible place where they can learn to swim and enjoy the water, especially with the river running through our town. According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, drowning remains the #1 cause of death among children ages 1 to 4. It is the second leading cause of death for children ages 5 to 14. Those are not just numbers, these are lives, precious lives that could be saved with something as simple and powerful as swimming lessons. In fact, swimming lessons have been shown to reduce the risk of drowning by 88%. Think about that. By giving our children the opportunity to learn to swim, we are giving them nearly 90% better chance of staying safe around water. This is not just about having fun in the summer. This is about safety and life itself. A community pool is more than a place to cool off on a hot day. Again, it's where our children can gain confidence and learn essential life skills. It's where families can come together, where friendships are made, and where we all can find a sense of belonging. It's a place that can be the heartbeat of our community. And I can speak on that because I'm a native, grew up here, moved away for a little bit where there was no family. And my son and I, we went to the pool all the time. He was a fish. And that's where I met. Now she's still my best friend. So it truly is. We have the opportunity to make a real, lasting difference here. By supporting the efforts to bring back our community pool, we are saying that we value life, we value safety, and we value the shared experience that make Canyon City such a special place to live and thrive. Let's come together to ensure that no more children are at risk simply because they didn't have a chance to learn to swim. Let's bring back our community pool, not just as a facility, but as a beacon of hope, safety, and unity for everyone in Canyon City. Thanks.
Thank you, Randy. With that, and the panelists here, do you want to come back, Randy, or just be here for the vote? Okay. Anybody on the panel here would like to say something? John, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question on the year-round option. How will the school district make use of that facility? Have you had some good idea from them what their intentions are there?
They've already said the first thing that will happen is they will create a boys and girls swim teams, and they compete in the girls in the winter and boys are in the spring for those seasons, so they will have swim teams. The other thing it gives them options for is PE classes, potentially swim lesson classes. Woodland Park, I think, has done an incredible job. They actually have an advanced first aid lifeguard class and treat it as and have it as a PE class, and then at that class you get certified as a lifeguard. So there are some true wins that we can do. We'll look at some other robust programming, and they did say Superintendent Hartman as well as Board Member Miley said that they would look at providing fees for that use of the facility as well. So they would be paying for use also. The parking lot, one of the things that benefits them is on very high use times such as Fine Art of Christmas, things like that. They have a need for additional parking. There are some partnerships there that can happen to where they can use that facility as well. So there are a lot of opportunities moving forward for this partnership between the rec district and the school district.
On the advanced lifeguarding, have there been any talks with PCC about them possibly providing classes like that? I mean, I know one of the challenges in operating a pool year-round is our lifeguards, and if PCC was involved, that you may be able to create your own pool of lifeguards here.
We have not had those conversations at this time. I will tell you, as far as staffing, we normally hired about 30 people to work the pool in the summer at the Ichabod Pool, and we normally had to turn around 10 to 15 away because it was a popular job. And I hope that will be the case in a few years as well. But we had a lot of success with staff, and very rarely were we short-staffed at the pool, and we actually had to turn people away. So the hope is that we're going to be able to continue that trend with this facility.
Thanks.
Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand that there are the 3 ballot questions. There's one related to an uptick in sales tax. There's one related to the mill levy property tax, and then there's the GEO bond. I'd like to understand kind of what the interrelation between the 3 is. What happens if the sales tax increase passes, but the mill levy doesn't? And how will we be wording our ballot questions to ensure that we kind of have our way forward were that to happen? Because I know it can be really confusing for folks when they're looking at the ballot and there are 3 different things that all need to pass in order for this to occur. Thanks.
So I can speak to the sales tax question. So the sales tax question, even if it passes, it's conditioned on the passing of the debt question. So if the debt question doesn't pass, then the sales tax doesn't come into effect.
What about the mill levy question?
I'm not sure about the mill.
So the mill levy question would have to be a discussion when we go there. Dan, at some of our meetings, had a position on that, and I would let him go.
So the mill levy is, the pool really can't open without the mill levy. The mill levy is not required to pay back the bond. It's not required to take out the bond, but the pool cannot open without the mill levy. I think that there is a possibility that if the other 2 questions were to pass and the mill levy increase were to fail, that we would have some time between that point and the beginning of construction where we could present that question or some form of that question to the voters again, and try to have that passed again. I know in other communities that's something that has been done, but I think, and I think in theory there's even a way we could begin construction without that mill levy having passed, but it would be awfully dangerous to build a building and a pool that you can't open because you can't operate it. So that would require a lot of discussion among the policymakers, presumably within the rec district board at the time, as to whether that's something a risk they want to take or not. But it wouldn't be, the sales tax is not contingent on the mill levy increasing, and the bond is not contingent on the mill levy increasing.
So I think I have 2 follow-up questions to that then. Is that the case for both options, that the pool cannot open, it cannot be operated, even if it remains just the outdoor pool, more similar to the Ickabone?
Correct. We have to have a subsidy. So the Recreation District does pulls from reserves to balance the budget per Tabor. This year we pulled $113,000 and there's no pool. So imagine if we had to all of a sudden have a pool and the debt service, or at least the subsidy for the operations, is between, let's say it's option A, $80,000 and $90,000. Now you're looking at you're over $200,000 pulling from reserves to do that. We cannot keep going that route. The reality is there have been 3 changes, property tax adjustments in the last 16 months by the state legislature. And the rec district has seen the effects of that. Now there is about to be a 4th next week, Monday, with a special session. So for us to sit here and say that we can operate it without a mill levy increase would be incorrect. We are then potentially looking to bankrupt the recreation district with whichever option you put out. And that's not something that we can do. There's a reason why pools are subsidized, and we need to have some subsidy to make this happen. But we also need an increase for what we currently do to meet what we have. We have been donated things by the city of Canyon City. For us, getting a new piece of equipment is the county graciously sold us a motor grader for $26,400, and it had over 190,000 hours on it. So it was new to us, but is not new. We would like to be able to get a truck that does not have over 100,000 miles on it. It's not new to us. Financially, we get very, very tight to provide services for the community. But we are at a point where we do need help.
Thank you. I think the second follow-up question that I had is probably for Attorney Sellers. So what would that look like if we, if the sales tax increase and the GO bond pass and the mill levy doesn't? We're collecting the sales tax. I don't believe we would want to start construction until the mill levy had passed so that we could for sure operate the pool. Are we holding those funds in reserve, or could you just walk us through kind of what that looks like?
So the question doesn't address your question, I guess is what I'll say. So the sales tax revenue is pledged to the GO bond. So, they just they go out and they get permission to go into debt. They have to do that process. And so the other component is the sales tax question allows us to enter into an IGA to pass that money to the rec district. And we could deal with that issue within that intergovernmental agreement as to whether or not we hold it back until the mill levy passes. We could open those discussions. You can put it in the question, but we have not discussed that being part of the question.
Yeah, I mean, the question is already very long as it is. I would hate to further complicate it, but I also am concerned about collecting tax that we may not actually be able to spend. So what would happen to those funds if we are unable to build the pool?
If you're unable, we'd have to figure out a way to refund them because they're pledged to that GO bond. And so if that bond does not occur, we need to either go back to the voters and ask to retain it for a different purpose, or we need to figure out a way to refund it. And refunding sales tax is a challenge. It's not like property tax refunds.
Did you have something to add, Ryan?
No, I was going to ask Catherine to clarify if you didn't ask the question, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're getting very close. That gives us a little breathing room for us to convene at 6 o'clock. And go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr.
No,
Mayor.
no, right ahead.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to have any discussion with the rec district board about the two options or not.
Would you like anyone to just chime in? Go right ahead.
Sure, absolutely. I think I can speak for all of us. We've had a lot of conversations over the past few months. It was really nice to see these survey results come back in such a positive way. I think we all can agree we need a pool. And at our last meeting, we all kind of felt as if option B with the indoor component was probably the best thing that we can provide for the community. There's a lot of reasons for that. Days of use, the return on investment, and really opportunity for our students and for year-round swim lessons and usage for all types of people. We feel like there'll be a lot of different people using that pool throughout the year, a lot of different programming that can take place that our community really can't provide right now. So we feel that option B is a great one for us. I do want to clarify too as far as the mills go, because we get caught talking about the mills, and really what that breaks down to, what we're asking for operations comes down to about $80 a year if you have a $300,000 house, which is about $6.70 a month to have an option B pool and to be able to run it and to be able to continue to provide services and continue to step up for this community. So, I mean, that's really what I want to get out there, you know, $80 a year, $6.70 a month on that $300,000 house. So anyway, if you guys have any questions for us, please feel free.
I'll jump in here too. So we've got, you know, after everybody did the surveys, we've got 31 pages of comments. Option B, the majority of the people who took the survey, it was 80%, 70, 80% positive, they want option B. I think if we go any other option than option B, I don't think people want that option A. The minority wants option A because it's a cheaper option. But option B, I think, is what the majority wants, and I think is what's going to be the most successful for the community in the long run. And with, due to the mill levy increase, it's not something that, we want to tack on to the sales tax, but if we're going to make these decisions today for the future, I think it's going to be a lot more harmful if we get a passing vote but then we fail on the execution because we don't have enough for operations, for the foreseeable future of the rec. So when we're sitting in these seats and trying to make these decisions, we want to do whatever we can to make sure this is going to be successful. It's going to be a lot worse if we are not successful because we didn't ask for a mill levy increase. And the fact that the rec has not had a mill levy increase in 80 years, we thought now would be a good time to ask that question. Hopefully, the turnout is good for the election and things that are coming up. And everybody wants the rec district to grow, and they're asking for more programs, and they're asking for more and more and more, which is great, and the rec district wants to provide that. But when the district runs as lean as the rec district is running now, eventually that growth is going to have a ceiling, and we're going to be limited on what we're going to be able to offer. So the rec district is now starting to reach that point of a ceiling, where even if we don't get the pool and we keep the mill levy where it is, we will have to dial back programs. But we are getting more and more requests for more programs. So just wanted to bring in the mill levy increase. We're not trying to add to, I don't want it to seem negative. We just want to be prudent on what it's going to take to make this a successful thing and then for the next 50 to 100 years. And if we don't ask that mill levy question, we are not going to be successful. It's hard to do. We're not doing it because we want people to pay more taxes. We're doing it because we want the community to be successful for the long term.
Okay, are you,
And we'd love to get in if we want to talk 3-4 mills, what the difference in pricing that is. We try to, we want to be as transparent as possible for everybody. This is, 3 mills is an extra $60 a year. You're going up to 4 mills, it's an extra 20. You're looking at an extra $80 a year, which is $6.66 a month.
okay, I have some other people who would like to talk as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Can you-
Sorry, I could ramble on. I got so much to say.
Yes, and you are, but that's fine.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Jerry.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is for the board and maybe for Kyle as well. So you guys got a couple months to still sell this idea. Is there any plans to have maybe a more robust campaign? Because I was talking to Ryan one day, and I look at the pictures you got, and don't get me wrong, I'm 100% on board behind this. But I'd like to see something more exciting to show the public so they can actually, the pictures we have are very one-dimensional and boring, to say the least. Is there anything going on with someone working on some kind of a more impressive campaign?
As far as the feasibility study goes, yes, we will have 3D renderings. That was part of the feasibility study that we paid for, so we should be having that by the end of the month, early next month.
Okay.
So that will be a part of the campaign to answer that question.
Well, we don't know what will be part of the campaign because that would be up to the campaign committee. Those would be available to anybody to use in a campaign.
And I believe the Citizens for a Pool have been working on that. And Randy, did you want to speak on that?
So we're working with Every Town Needs a Pool. Every Town Needs a Pool is the campaign side of things. Citizens for a Pool being a 501c3, it is a nonpartisan issue, so we can back in and support it, but Every Town Needs a Pool, that's where they're coming in to play, another citizens group to help. So we have been working with some political consultants helping us. We know one of the biggest things for this campaign is education and getting the facts out there. And so that's what we have been gearing up and we're prepared to do, whatever way it's going, is to make sure that we get the facts out there. Public meetings, we've already been out there on First Fridays, being out wherever we can to help educate, answer questions, and get the facts out there. So not sure if that helps answer your question, but
No, it does.
Okay.
And I'd like to help. I mean, a lot of us own businesses downtown and other places, and I'm sure we would like to share in this more vibrant campaign when it comes around.
yeah, right. Being positive about the talk has been great. A lot of the feedback, I mean, I've had people message just from the talk on the forms of social media, writing and saying, just being able to read and go through the comments, they were on the fence, or they would be a no new tax, and once they've learned the facts and learned the price and everything and what we're looking at, that they're totally behind it, which is great, so.
Okay, we got 15 minutes, so we got John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a comment for the Recreation Board. And looking at the differences between options A and options B, both have the lap pool. The option B is an enclosed lap pool. But the issue for me, and I think for others in the community, is that it looks like there's other additional rooms being added. And I think that what you need to be able to do is to direct your contractors to where it's feasible. And I understand there are engineering reasons for doing things, but there's no need to have 2 more change rooms when you have the same amount of pool square footage. And so you've got to be able to, where possible, combine. You know, there's, as I understand it, there's 2 mechanical rooms. Does it really need to be 2? Can't it be 1? Aren't there cost savings there? And so that's my request, is as we go forward and hopefully have some approval from the public for this pool, that you look at those issues and deal with them the best that you can.
Sure, and I can tell you that we've discussed some of those things, and part of the reason for the extra rooms is because at that point, once you have an indoor facility where you're going to be hosting teams and you have change rooms for kids, they have to be separate from public pools and from the public where they use the restroom. So there's reasons for that, based on teaming and trying to provide those type of things.
Understand. Well, that would be really good to include in any campaign, that
Sure.
the differences that drive some of the financial choices.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Amy, go ahead.
I understand that a Miss Kaylin Miller may want to speak. Oh, has she left?
Okay, we only got 10 minutes, so, okay.
She texted me what she wanted to say. So I am not Kaylin Miller. But this says, my name is Kaylin Miller. I am a resident of Canyon City, involved with many things. I would have loved to stay for the 6 o'clock vote, but I am a mountain biking coach for the high school and have to go. I'm also a member and secretary of Royal Gorge Rio. I have many positive perspectives as to why a pool, specifically an indoor pool, would benefit our community, to include the safety noted by Randy, services for all demographics of our community, and elaborating on great opportunities we have in this community, and providing jobs and responsibilities for young members of our community. Ichabone was her first job as a high school student, which was a great opportunity as a young member of the community, which would benefit more kids in the future. She was a lifeguard, loved being a lifeguard, and thought, now she's a kayaker. So just, thanks for letting Kaylin speak through me.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're running short on time, so I'd like to conclude at this point. And is that okay? Of course it's okay, because I said it was okay, right? So we're going to have a 6 o'clock. We'll bring that vote on the pool to the first on the agenda that we're going to vote on, and you're all welcome back. If you'd like to fill out one of these requests to speak, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.